Hey everybody, this is Chris Harrelson. I am a featured walker on The Walking Dead, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mark Who 42's universe, the place for all sorts of wonderful geeky stuff. I am your host, Eduardo M, Freyre, and with me is...
Vicky Jakubowski.
And Zion Quiros should be with us a little while later. But hey, today, I'm going to be honest, we're going to go a little serious, because today we are honoring the late, great Chadwick Boseman with our review of Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. Wow, I think, well, first of all...
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's weird, like, how do you, I don't know, it's just, I find myself well, first of all, the fact that this movie got made, I think, it's great, and it's like, it's just so great because it is just, it's a great way to honor, it's a great way to honor Chadwick and a great way to honor the legacy of the Black Panther, and it's one of those things, there could have been a moment where we didn't get it, I keep thinking.
That's true. And there
Yeah.
were so many things that were really working against this movie when you think about it.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. Just I will say that, a lot of people were like, oh, Shuri. Yeah, let's just have Shuri take over, which there is precedent for it, so, it's not too far out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
But it is, it was, I have to admit, the first few minutes of the film were hard.
My gosh, that opening.
So hard, man. I mean, it's well, I think it's not only, watching poor Shuri trying desperately to save her brother. I mean, that's bad enough, but then when it is pretty clear that she's too late.
Yeah.
It's like that first hit. There's the first hit. And then the second hit comes when we have the Marvel Studios logo, all pictures of Chadwick as Black Panther.
Oh, I was sobbing like a baby.
And it was quiet. No music, no nothing. I'm just like, oh dear, oh wow. That is like, wow.
I want to give major thank you to the powers that be, the producers, the editors who put all that together. Talk about giving us a punch, giving us an emotional gut wrench. We didn't know how they were going to handle this.
Nope.
I mean, it's a difficult situation. They could have done this so many different ways. And I just felt like, yes, perfect, beautiful, excellent, as the tears were streaming from my face.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just I got misty eyed. I mean, I was just like, wow, this is damn.
Yeah.
Damn, man, gut punch. Now here's the interesting thing. I had read that Chadwick's brother had gone on record as saying, don't, recast. It's okay, recast. I don't think my brother would have wanted it, that, he knew that the role was bigger than him. And I just...
Yes, but do you think that the fans would have wanted a different person playing T'Challa? I mean, seriously, would anybody have accepted anyone else in that part.
See, you hit you got to the root
Mm-hmm.
of the issue, which is it's so great, like it's great to say, yeah, oh yeah, Chadwick would have been fine if you would have had, if you would have had, somebody else. And I can see, I can also see how casting somebody new, like casting somebody new, would have shown, that, I mean, well, first of all, anybody new who would have come in, I would feel very sorry for them because
Yes.
you are on the shoulders of a giant,
Right.
and it would have just been like, how is anyone supposed to do that? How is anyone supposed to follow in his footsteps? But it also, I mean, I kind of feel like one of the things that this movie did is it really, one of the things I think that the MCU does really well and can do really well is the fact that we do live like in this, being a comics fan, you're used to what is called the illusion of change.
Yes.
How many times have you seen like an event or a comic and it goes, and nothing will ever be the same? That's like a nice little buzzword that they throw out there. The other thing that they throw out is, like you have somebody die in an event. Oh,
Yeah.
Thor dies in this event, and then a few months later or so, guess who's back?
Yep.
Like Thor comes roaring back, and it's like like I said, it becomes all about the illusion of change. It's about, it's not about, it's just, it's about, oh, saying things will never change, but then, oh, so-and-so's back, so-and-so's back. The thing that this does, and it does it to a very, I'm trying to think of the word for it.
Yeah.
You know what? Devastating. I'm going to say devastating
like
and
that
necessary thing is by not recasting T'Challa, by killing him in universe. Killing him within the MCU.
Yes.
What
It's
it does,
always hard to decide.
Yeah. And it basically brings to the forefront, it's like, look, this is something, this is not something that we're just going to be like, oh, that we're going to try and brush aside and soldier on. No, this is going to be a part of things. And it is tough. It is really tough, knowing that there's not going to be any sort of escape clause. There's not going to be any sort of, oh, we're just going to recast, it'll be fine, just pretend everything's normal.
Right.
Normal's gone. Normal is totally gone.
I think we've all figured that one out, haven't we?
Yeah. You know what?
I mean, that's kind of what the last 3 years between his death and everything we've all experienced as a collective universe is that, and this film almost is a culmination of that, where Thor: Love and Thunder gave us the humor we needed.
Yep.
When you think about it, it gave us that humor and that poignancy. It had its sad moments, but it gave us that smile that we really kind of all needed. We needed to come back. We needed to laugh. This gave us our humanity, our compassion, our we're all very raw human beings in 2022. And this just really kind of laid it all out there. And I think we all were feeling it. And I so appreciate everybody involved with this project and how they handled it all. Because I think that the end product is extremely good. I enjoyed every minute of it, and I didn't feel like I was watching a movie that was, what was that, 161 minutes long?
Yeah, no, I knew that it was, I knew that it was a long movie, but then when I actually saw what the runtime was, I'm like, whoa,
Yeah, I was like,
what the
oof.
deuce?
Yeah. I mean, it's like one of the Thanos movies was going to be the only one that was longer. It's
Yeah,
like, okay, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. And then it was over.
yep,
I'm like, wow, it didn't even feel like that. Okay,
yeah,
good movie then. When you don't feel it.
yes, yes. Um,
Oh,
the other thing for me, um, with this movie, it just, oh man, the other thing is, it just, here's the interesting part though that I read. I read this, going into the release of Wakanda Forever, that the idea of grief was
hmm.
always going to be present.
Isn't
That
that fascinating?
that it was always going to be the thing though. The thing though that changed is that originally it was going to be T'Challa grieving over the fact he lost 5 years. That we
Right.
had the snap and he lost 5 years, but then the switch, where the
Yes.
switch comes in, was the fact that now, after Chadwick passed away, it becomes more about everybody else's grief at the passing of
Yes.
Chadwick. Like, there was the scene where, you had the scene where Queen Ramonda,
Yes.
I don't know,
I
the
believe it's Ramonda.
Ramonda, where she is, she's freaking out because Shuri got captured,
Right.
and she fires Okoye, and it's like,
Oh,
on the one hand, you're like, whoa, did you have to go so harsh? But then on the
but
other hand,
yeah, you
it's
feel
like,
her grief.
well, you feel her grief. It's like her child is dead.
Yeah.
Her child is dead, gone. And, and her other child, one of her remaining kids, is in the
Is
hands
off.
is in the hands of an enemy. Is being held
Yes.
hostage. It's one of those things where, okay, yeah, that was harsh, but you can kind of feel where she's coming from. It's like, okay, I
Right.
I get it. I do get it. It's one of those, it's kind of one of those things that if I was in the room, you know, I would just be quiet. But
Yes.
as everybody kind of files out, just gingerly walking up and going, Your Highness,
Yeah.
um, we're not, I mean, you're not alone here. Everybody's feeling the loss of King T'Challa, and and we're worried about Shuri. But did you think you made the right decision?
Yeah.
It's like you do not say anything at the moment, but in a quiet moment, just be like, hey,
Yes.
maybe why
Do
don't
you
we think
really
about it?
fire your main protector, the
Yeah,
person who's been there thick and thin?
it's like,
And I
yeah,
could understand it, especially as a mom, but at the
mhm,
same time, it's like her
yep,
grief has taken over her reasoning. And it's interesting that we dealt with a lot of the if you're gone 5 years. Dealt with that a little bit in which Spider-Man
yeah.
was that? Was that Far From Home?
That was no, yeah, that was Far From Home.
And so, we kind of dealt with the and then of course with the end game, because we had our support group, the blip support group. We saw a little bit of
Yep,
it in WandaVision, that it would make sense from a thematic that it would also kind of go over into this movie. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad that there was a different focus. I'm sad for the reason behind that focus,
yeah,
but I kind of like the fact that we had something different, because it made the movie not just this continuing arc of the blip, but it's so much deeper, and it's so much more raw, that okay, you get him back and then you lose him again.
yeah,
And what happens when a nation loses both its spiritual head, its technical head, its protector, its everything, and then of course
yeah,
that his sister has to then go through this massive process to be able to herself become, the protector, the Black Panther. It makes sense. You know in your stomach that you get it. Your gut's going, okay, she's going to become the Black Panther. Even if you don't see any of the spoilers that came out before the movie, you knew in your gut that she was going to have to become the Black Panther. But despite that, you knew she was going to have to go through this walk. She was going to have to go through this process. And she was going to have to take on even more grief than her mother.
Yep.
And have to go through that process of choosing mercy over revenge, choosing her brother's path over Killmonger's path. I mean, it just that's the thing about this movie. Oh my God, there are so many layers. There are so many nuances. There's holy cow,
Oh yeah, no.
It's just everywhere you turn, there's another deep layer. And when I tell people, I've heard people say, "Oh, it was a really good movie," but it just felt like it was really, it didn't have to be quite that angsty. Oh, yes, it did.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. Well, would you really have believed her if she didn't go through that process? Would you really have believed everything if you didn't see all this happen?
Well, the other thing, it's not just her. It's not just her. It's not. It's one of the things also about her process was the fact that, I think I love the scene where she goes into the ancestral lands and meets Killmonger.
I know.
First of all, I thought it was a great way to bring Michael B. Jordan back without again having to do the illusion of change and being like, oh, he came back because we did this.
Right.
I love it. And then the fact that
choice too.
And then the fact that it was a knife to the gut because he's based, it's like, and it also kind of makes the audience and more importantly the character kind of take a look and go, well, wait a minute, why am I seeing him? And he's laying down some truth bombs, and he's like, hey cousin, you're, it's like,
you're revenge, babe. You're revenge all the way.
Yeah, you're revenge you're revenging all the way. Yeah. You want to do revenge. You want to do revenge because, like, this is what you're here for. It's like, no, I'm not here for that. Yes, you are. It's like, no, this is not what I'm here for. Yes, it is. It's like, if this was okay, if this had been her brother, he would have probably been like, Shuri, this is not you. But she drew the psycho
in your face. I'm gonna give you the truth,
Yeah, this is a truth bomb. Yeah, she got her cousin Captain Truth Bomb. And, he was like, it was hey, you're you're all about revenge. I mean, it wasn't until she had Namor, you had the spirit Namor's throat that she did hear her mom going, Shuri.
Yes.
Shuri, we're not gonna kill the guy. Come on, what would
your
brother
I felt
do?
myself welling up again there.
And
it's like she had to, when you think about us as humans, it becomes very obvious. We so much of our decision-making process and our feeling process, everything that has come before us shapes what we do today. And without looking at what there is and acknowledging what there is and the elephants in the room, you will continue to react based on your past. And the fact that up until that moment she had the knife at his throat, she refused to realize that she was truly doing revenge. She refused to accept that she was trying to do revenge. And then, nope, babe, you are doing revenge. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And
it's like,
the look on her face when she sees her mom's face. And it's like, oh, babe, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yep. And the other thing, I mean, the thing that makes it so powerful is how many of us, let's be honest. let's be honest. Let's be honest here. How many of us on seeing, how many of us, if we were in her shoes, how many of us would have been like, yep, spear and throat, like without hesitation? How many of us, if we would have been there and we would have heard the Queen, we would have been like,
nope, it's okay, Mom, you got this. I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, it's like, no, don't listen to your mother. Don't listen to your mother. Drive it in. Drive that spear in. Take him out.
Isn't that proof that she really did have the spirit of her brother in her? That she could take that revenge that was so searing in her heart, taking over her very essence, and instead go, no, I am not Killmonger. I am not a revenge seeker. I do want to honor my mother. I do want to honor my brother. I do want to do the right choice. So come on, Namor. We're going to do this together.
We're going to talk it out.
We're going to come up with a better solution, and we're going to not destroy each other.
Yep. She's like, okay, nope. We've smacked each other around. It's hug it out time. We're going to hug it out. We're going to talk it out. What my brother would do, and here's the thing, because it actually goes back, and it was mentioned in the film. Captain America: Civil War.
Yes,
he had, T'Challa had Zemo dead to rights.
Yes,
he could have slashed Zemo's. He could have ripped Zemo's heart out right there. And no one would have said a word. He could have gone home and been like, my father's killer has been dealt with. He did not. He figured out what Zemo's whole deal was, and he was like, you know what? Nope. We're not going to do this.
It's always amazing when we humans can suddenly decide to not give in to our most basic of instincts, our most primal of urges, and to rise above that and do what makes us human and what makes us better. And that is to be compassionate and to be humane. And I think that's such a huge message of this movie. I mean, it's a great action movie, but that is at heart what this story is. But then, of course, in the second part, we're going to have to go into the action. Because now that I'm done crying, I just realized I've spent this whole time talking with you about all the sad bits. We got to talk about the happy bits.
No, we got to get into happy place territory. Oh, jeez. No, we got to. No, definitely.
Well, take us to commercial there, Ed.
I mean, we still got like a minute, but definitely. Just anybody listening. All right, we had our cry. We went over this. When we get back, definitely let's get into the action. We're going to, just like life, we're going to move on. We're going to soldier on. So, definitely when we get back, we're moving on, and for better or for worse, when there is tragedy, that's the thing. You got to move on. It's like for better or for worse, the world keeps spinning, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to keep spinning.
We're now going to spin in the good direction.
Exactly. Good direction. It's going to be the good direction now. Oh, Lordy. And see, anybody who's ever like, oh, the Marvel movies don't have any depth. Excuse me? I did not just go through all that time for you to tell me there's no depth.
The Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Pixels in the Animation is the Geekcast Radio Network's video game cartoon review show. We are covering every episode of 9 different video game cartoons. Join TV's Mr. Neil and myself, TFG and Mike, as we trek through multiple Mario tunes, Zelda, Captain N, Mega Man, Sonic, and we are also driving through Donkey Kong Country. Pixels in the Animation is 100 episodes of video game cartoon goodness, so tune in to help us find the Pixels in the Animation, which you can find every Wednesday on iTunes and www.geekcastradio.com.
You are listening to Mark Who 42's Universe.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Mark Who 42, where we are covering Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Yeah, first half we had to go. We had to do a little. Yeah, we were reflecting on stuff. It was a little serious. Because I mean, hey, not only did T'Challa pass away in the MCU, but he passed away in real life. So we kind of had to go through some stuff. But you know what? We're switching gears now. Life moves on. We're getting to the action and the debuts in this film. So, and hey, joining us for this, Zion has now joined us. Hey, Zion, how you doing?
Hello.
Okay, so sorry you missed out on the therapy session the first half.
Look, I want to put something. Just seeing those flashbacks, I'm just looking at him and saying, "That was the man. That was him."
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I hear that. Yep.
And now we go to war.
But yeah.
This has some massive action sequences.
Oh yes. First off, I think before we get into the action sequences, what are everybody's thoughts on the long-awaited live-action debut of Namor?
Nice job.
I agree. I am not one for delving off of character origins and such, but this one was actually really good. Like turn it into an Aztec origin was something I've never really thought of, but like it definitely fits the character much.
I had heard there was concern about the whole crossing into the Atlantis too much, even though the Aztec stories kind of, the Mesoamerican and Atlantis kind of all coincide, and maybe that was Atlantis, depending on who you believe. But, too much of a crossover with Aquaman and the MCU wanting to not go into that whole issue.
Yeah.
But nice
job.
Well,
what I like is it gives Namor a uniqueness. It now sets him apart from a character like Aquaman.
Yes.
While still it's still the Namor we know and love.
Yes.
He's still there. It's just now we're going through, now we're seeing it through a different prism. Now it's, and actually the thing that I really like, the thing that I thought really was cool was the fact that, now it's through, doing, the revised origin. What it gives us now is it tied in a lot to the general themes of the Black Panther movies. Because Namor, or Namor, if you want to, go a little with the pronunciation as the movie kind of said, sin amor. The thing that was cool, the thing that I thought was really cool, was that, we have somebody else who's like, look, I come from a people who were oppressed, who were enslaved. We've been trying to live our life totally apart. And then now there's all this crud going on in the ocean. We've got a right to protect our way of life.
Yes.
It's like I don't consider I don't consider Namor the villain for this film. I consider
Right.
him the antagonist. He's the antagonist, but
Correct.
he's not a villain. You know, if there's anything wrong with him, he is again almost like almost like Killmonger. He's like, okay, the only way that this is going to be solved is let's kill everybody and let God sort it out.
Exactly. He's almost a villain due to circumstance, as opposed to he is also a protector of his people. He is also the ruler of his people. He also has a job to do. He also, rightfully so, does not trust the other nations, does not trust the other people out there. He has seen what they do. He has seen what can happen.
Yeah.
He has no illusions on how bad the others can be. So, no,
Yep.
nobody's getting into his world. Nobody's touching his people. And anyone who tries, well, he warned you.
Yeah, no,
And you kind of root for him. It's kind of a weird thing because you're like, you. Who do I root for? Shoot, I like
Yep.
both of them, but they both so ruled by anger.
Yeah, it's the type of thing we said. I said in the first half. I was like, oh, if I was in the room with the Queen when she fired Okoye, I would have been like, hey, you want to rethink this? I know you're mad. We're all worried about Shuri, but you want to rethink this? It's kind of along a similar lines. If I was in the area when Queen Ramonda and Namor are talking, or whenever these characters are talking, I would have been like, "Hey, whoa! Can everybody chill for a minute? Like, hold up a sec, okay? There's gotta be like an option where we can all just like talk it out. Let's chill. Let's there's got to be something. Okay, there's got to be something where it doesn't involve invading somebody else's nation. It doesn't involve killing anybody. There's got to be a solution where we can all be happy. It's like you just want to kind of get in the middle of that. Just be like, okay, everybody. Okay, take a breath, everybody, right now. Take a breath, count to 10.
And like that's funny because like
of course, I can pretty much see Namor being like, I don't breathe up here, and then throwing stuff. It's like,
What you said is very interesting because like once you take a step back and like take everything in, this is the first time that these people have ever had an outside visitor, right? So of course, like imagine that no one has came to your house ever in your life, and then there's this guy that's in your bathtub. Of course, you're gonna freak out for the next 40 days and wondering how did he do that, and try and just. And then eventually everyone's gonna be like, okay, just calm down. We need to figure things out, and maybe the walls are now blue instead of green for some reason. You're gonna freak out. And like I just find it really interesting because like you look at Wakanda compared to the world and like how they like to look at themselves compared to the world, right? But no matter what, you are still human. No matter what you don't understand, you will still fear. And I like that like they portrayed that really nicely in this movie, at least to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. You bring up a good point, especially because like in both, it's weird because it's like the more differences they have, the more there's also the same. Because in the case of it's Talokan, I hope I'm saying this right. In the case of Talokan and Wakanda, in both cases we have civilizations that have been apart. They have been detached from the rest of the world. And that detachment has created a bit of a bit of maybe a little xenophobia and a little bit of guarding close to the chest and just being like, nope, Related to that, I know that the film begins with a group of mercenaries trying to attack a Wakandan research station, and then there's
Yeah.
we have the Dora Milaje show up, and it's like, hi, hi, you're invading our house. Of course, I still in the theater when I saw the vault, they open the vault and you don't see anything in there. I'm like, oh, there's gonna be a little surprise. There's
Yeah.
gonna be a little bit of a surprise, and it's like, yep, there's the Dora Milaje going, hi, Have you ever fought warrior women? No, you're about to. Yeah, it's I love. I thought it was kind of interesting also that you have that sequence. You have the Queen talking before the UN Council.
Yes, that was a
And
nice
when they
sequence.
brought the mercenaries in, and they're all bounded up. What I love is the fact that we never found out where the mercs are from.
Yeah.
They never say
Well,
where
I
they're
kind
from.
of feel that when she turns to the French ambassador and she goes, "You're welcome," I kind of,
Yeah.
and she kind of nods her head. I'm like, "Oh, they're French."
Yeah.
Um,
It's the French, but yeah. What I love is that it's never really explicitly said.
True.
It's never explicitly mentioned. It's just they're mercs, and it may be because of because it's great that you caught that, Vicky. I mean, they could have been French, but it's never out and out stated, and I
True.
love that because it drives this point. Like instead of it's one of those things. The Black Panther movies, you have all the colonizer, that type of thing. And it's like, this is the thing, it's not, I know that, it's not about being anti-American or anti-French or anti, British
Right.
or whatever. It's the fingers being pointed in a circle and going, okay, all of you have taken part in this,
Correct.
and I don't, and it's like, Ramonda being like, oh, you want us to share with Vibranium? Oh, but somebody, decided that they needed mercenaries to, steal our stuff. Oh, and you want us to just give it to you? Not happening.
Yeah.
Not happening. And it's like you also see her point. It's like, oh yeah, sure,
You guys can't be trusted with this.
Yeah. You could have asked, but you thought you'd take. Like, that's not how this works.
It is interesting where the two of them are having this almost, these two nations that have this amazing substance, vibranium, and they really should be working together, but they can't agree on how they're going to do this. One wants to be more ruthless, one wants to have a little more compassion. How do we do this? How do we not do this? And then they have almost this silent war that the rest of the world doesn't know about.
Yep.
And then have a silent truce. And then I did wonder if when they have that truce and at the end, when it's all like, yeah, well, when the world attacks Wakanda, they're going to have to come to us and be our allies. I kind of wonder if they felt like, not only they're going to have to be our allies, but, then we're going to have the upper hand. So they still feel like they're the stronger ones because they got a better shot than Wakanda does, because everyone on the planet knows about Wakanda.
Yeah,
everyone on the planet
not
doesn't
everybody
know about the
knows.
planet, the whole other world under the water.
Yep. Well, not to mention how much of the world is water.
I know.
And it's
Holy
like,
cow, Batman.
and Namor himself was able to swim into Wakanda undetected, and then also drop off the the vibranium detection device.
Yes.
Think about it this way: going to war with an underwater civilization, how many ways do they have to get to you?
That scares the crap out of me.
Think about it this way. Okay, half of this podcast are in Florida. So it's like right there. and then we're in Nevada, but yeah, we've got Tahoe nearby, and something's gotta, it's like this stuff has to, at some point,
They could slip
the
out. I
wa-
mean, come on, the Truckee River. How close is
oh
it
yeah,
to us? They could
oh
just
there you
sneak on over.
the Truckee,
My-
yeah,
Yeah, my office is right next to it. They could sneak right in, just pop
yeah,
in and
they could come
oh
right out, walk
hi.
into your office, yeah,
It
exactly.
just
I mean, it's
anytime you have that kind of stealthiness, and we thought Wakanda was stealthy. Wakanda was
Yeah.
stealthy prior to them opening themselves up to the world to a
Yep.
certain extent. Well, they're
Can I-
not anymore.
Can I ask you guys a question? Because since
Yeah.
on question of fear, so like now we have two countries or two entities that have vibranium, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
It's no secret that if you've seen this movie, Namor dropped the M word, if we all know what I mean. But
Mhm.
so my thing is this: in the search for an alternative for vibranium, is it possible that this is the path to adamantium?
Ooh.
Since he said the M word.
Yep, yeah. Well,
He did.
I mean, yeah, the door is open for adamantium. The door is also open for carbonadium,
Yes.
the stuff that Omega Red is infused with. So
So if he
yeah,
said the word, does that mean we're now allowed to say the word?
Can we say it?
well, it's been said a few times. So yeah, I think we can say mutant.
Mutant!
Yep.
Mutant! We're
And
finally
heck-
here.
And here's the
Mutant.
thing. Here's I think also the other thing that helps is he said mutant.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Namor is old.
That's
He is
true.
he's like a couple of he is I think a couple of 100 years old.
At
Mhm.
least. Was
I
it like
think, yeah.
1600s?
Yeah, a
Fif-
couple of hundred or
1500s.
so, a few hundred years. So here's the thing. He's been around, so so that opens the door for more to show up. Because if he's been around since let's say the 1600s. Let's say he's been around since the 1600s. That means that there are other characters who are mutants who can
Yes.
have been around for a while. They've
Yes.
just been off, they've just been off radar. Because that's I think one of the great things about that's one of the great things about comics is if you do it correctly, there can be characters who've been around. We just don't know about it.
Yep.
And that's
Because
true.
they were off to they've been off the grid. A character like, for example, characters like Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister.
Right.
They don't do they're not about doing stuff publicly. They're about being in the shadows. So they
They're
can be around.
influencers.
You could maybe have Omega Red and it's just he's been on ice. And we've seen from stuff like the Winter Soldier and other things, there's always something that is off book, that is buried
Yes.
deep in like conjecture and hearsay.
There's always somebody that's pulling someone else's strings and
Yep.
often doing it so quietly, and you think you know who is the puppet master. No, there's usually a puppet master of the puppet master of the puppet master. And as you
Yep.
delve deeper and deeper, and whether you're talking the comics or the movies or the TV shows, and then you find that there's this whole other level, and you go, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Yep.
fact that this movie has shown us that there is a whole nother world within our world,
Yep.
under our world. Well,
Yep.
of course there is.
Yeah. No,
So
and
the
it's
fact that the surface dwellers are naive and are arrogant enough
Yep.
to not realize that there could possibly be anything else, just as they were arrogant enough to think that, no one in a place like Wakanda could possibly have technology or superior intellect to them.
Well, or even I mean, it goes beyond that because nobody, Talocan was just so off everybody's radar that you have DeFontaine and those like
Yes.
her who were just like, oh yeah, it was probably the Wakandans, and it's like,
Yeah.
where are you getting this from? And it's simply just, well, it was technology we've never seen before. Got to be the Wakandans.
Yes.
It's like not even bothering to think, what if there's a third, and it's like I feel a little bit for Ross at the fact that he's having to, he's in Wakandan's corner and just being like, hey,
Right.
guys, there's stuff going on we don't realize. And it's like he can't be given more details, and he's having to sit there and like listen to his ex-wife, which I don't know how the heck they were married to begin with.
Yeah, that's just a frightening thought, isn't it?
It's like what? How did a guy like Ross get somebody like DeFontaine? Not to mention, how did they even stay?
Or the other way around? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
it just.
I don't know either, because like DeFontaine, and I look at her and I'm like, oh geez, it's like I
No.
can't imagine them at all.
No,
Like
stop.
I can't imagine them at all just like hugging each other and going, "Good morning, honey." It's like, no,
She's not a hugger, and she's not a good morning, honey kind of
no,
person.
she is not. She is not. I mean,
She's a Peloton.
she's somebody who she's what?
She's
What's
a
that?
Peloton person.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
one.
No, oh man, yeah. She does seem like the type that she walks into a room, you got to always keep an eye on her.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's interesting the way that this movie is multiple layers, which is always a good mark of a movie.
Yes.
Is we have the sad, we have the sorrow, we have the grief, we have the action movie. We also have this insidious nature. And the fact is that the people who should be the good guys, although it is the CIA, so there's always that. But,
well, you gotta do
the good guys are more concerned about having the vibranium,
Yeah.
and more concerned about not having anyone.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating because it's like, I'm the only one who can have all the toys. If anyone else has all the toys, then it's not fair, and the world is wrong, and I must be the one who has all the toys.
Yep.
Why
Well,
should
it's
you have all the
it also
toys? Why can't other people have toys too?
Well, you know what? It reminds me, like the opening and the beginning scene in the UN.
Yes.
What it also I get reminded of is a scene in The Godfather, where we have the meeting with all the heads of the 5 families.
Uh-huh.
And Vito is there to talk about his son, getting his son home.
Right.
And you have one of the guys, you have one of the guys talking about how, well, he has all the cops and the politicians in his, in his hand. Why doesn't he share? And they're like, oh, let's all get a chance to drink from the well, that type of thing.
Yep.
And I'm just like, huh. I'm just like, it's this again. It's like, well, why don't you, you have this cool vibranium stuff, and your country has turned into like this, this beyond state of the art living space. It's like, why aren't you sharing? It's like, oh, they have this cool toy, they have to share it.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh. And it's like, you can almost, again, you can almost sympathize with Namor and his people. That,
Yes.
it's all about, it's like you can understand, they've probably been like observing this from afar and been like, we ain't sharing nothing. Forget it. You guys made the bomb and you want us to share? Forget you.
How did you guys feel about the costume design?
Oh, I love it.
Wow.
I love it. Well, first of all, Yeah, no, Namor's look. I love the whole Mesoamerican look. It is just so
Yes,
it's so unique. It's so
it's
And
correct.
yes,
yeah.
so
And by the way,
often you see caricatures, but
yep.
I have to say that the costume designers on both sides, Wakanda and the Mesoamerican, nice job. Did
Oh
your
yeah,
homework.
definitely,
Did a
definitely.
great
And
job.
then and then also I gotta say, it's not just costume design, but did anybody notice Namor's throne?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
His throne is made out of teeth of a megalodon.
I
See,
was like,
it's like say
I
what you
want.
say what you will about the fact that he's a fish man or whatever. He has a throne made out of a megalodon jaw. That says something, okay? That says something about the people we're dealing with.
Yeah, that and also that they use whales because it's so easy to just use sharks and
yes.
or like they have pea brains.
No.
Yep.
Whales
Yes.
and dolphins are smart, and
Yep.
like when they had that scene where there was boarding the ship, and you had the killer whales. I mean the orcas just catapulting the
Right.
guys
Yep.
on
That was
the ship with their tails. I was like,
fabulous.
there's no way a shark can do that. That's a whale only thing. And I was like,
Right.
I never would have thought of that.
Oh yeah.
Movement.
Well,
Oh.
it's just here's the thing. I mean, first of all, from what I remember from being a kid, an orca's fin clocks in around 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
Okay, the human average is around 6 feet. So you are telling me that these people have domesticated orcas as modes of transportation. Not to mention, again, they also have blue whales. Blue whales are freaking huge.
Mhm.
And
Did they
these
domesticate
things,
them,
and
or
these
did they
people,
just work with them?
yeah, these people have domesticated them. It's like, here's the thing: you can rag on people like Aquaman and Namor, and it's like, oh, they're fish people. It's like, dude, are you aware? Are you aware of the fact that here's the thing: orcas, okay, orcas beach themselves on purpose to get food. They do not mind hanging on the beach waiting for able to take the tide because it's like, I'm hungry, I'm getting that seal. So it's like, dude, do you realize, not to mention the fact that we have barely explored the ocean depths.
Yes.
What?
Who knows what is under there?
And who knows what they have control over? I mean, anybody who's read Namor's comic appearances going back to antiquity, he's commanded like Kraken level stuff, sea monsters.
Nice. I love it.
Yep. We have to end things here on Subspace Radio, but go to the podcast feed because we have extra innings where we're going to talk more about Black Panther Wakanda Forever, whether it's about writing troop transports created out of, made from just writing an orca, more on Shuri as Black Panther, more on Riri, Ironheart. We just got so much more.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The Geekcast Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure the Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news, play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our director retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies film by film. Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience the Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or geekcastradio.com.
Wow. Okay, so all right, we've covered Namor, we've covered his people, we got a little bit into Ross and how the heck could he be married to DeFontaine. I think also, oh man, I mean there's just so many. Okay, one person I do want to talk about, the debut of Riri Williams. Ironheart.
Yes.
I love the fact that we get to see her in the Ironheart armor. I know that at the end of the film, she had to give it up. It had to stay in Wakanda. But given the fact that Ironheart is getting her own Disney Plus series, I feel confident that somehow she'll make something new. And, we'll see her flying high sooner rather than later. But I love the design. I loved it. It was almost like a motorcycle in armor form.
It makes me so mad that I couldn't get into. I think it was called International Iron Man. It was one of those that was out in like 2015, 2016, and like I bought it for like the first like 5 issues, and then I stopped. And then she came out like 2 issues after, and I'm like, well, when it was getting good, I just stopped. And like it's funny that that's how just comics work.
Yeah,
they just come out whenever, and you could be it could be the most boring thing ever. But then 5 years later, oh my goodness, she's in a movie. What?
Yep.
And I missed the issue.
Yep.
I have everything else.
Yep. And it's and then again, one of the things for me, it goes back to what I've been saying, that this is perfect because it goes against the idea of the illusion of change. It's like, I know that there were people of, they'll bring Tony Stark back. It's like, guys, here's the thing. Tony's gone. There is no more Tony Stark. He's gone. What happened in Endgame is not going to be magically waved away.
Yeah.
Bringing in Riri as like his spiritual successor is incredible. It's awesome. And it shows, like, that's the thing. Things like Hawkeye, Riri Williams coming in Ironheart. It's like, Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's one of the things about phase 4 is that we are now, one of the things is legacy. For all the, for the fact that, you have heroes that are gone, there are also those that are now, what they started is going to continue. And for me, that is one of the things that I love, about the MCU. Because, I mean, how old is Robert Downey Jr.? How old is Chris Evans?
Right.
They can't just be, we can't have Chris Evans in his 70s being like, I can do this all day. I suppose you could find someone else to be Steve Rogers, but let's be honest. How many people out there would be willing to accept that?
Right.
What we have now is the opportunity to be like, to create like a story that truly flows and, continues and, is multi-generational.
And that's it exactly. And you need that. And I like the way that, and not as familiar with the character from the comics because I didn't read this version of the comics.
Yeah.
But I love the way that her character was such a spiritual successor to Stark. She was the same thing. She was this plucky genius who just started playing with stuff and look what she can create. And oh my goodness, she's just amazing. And just because she had to leave the suit in Wakanda doesn't mean she's not going to come visit a lot.
Oh yeah, no, or it doesn't. It doesn't mean it's like, well, I can't use this vibrant. I mean, there's certain things I can't use because I made a promise, but that's not to say that she can't make something new.
Right. I think she
I'm
will
sure
definitely.
That is probably what Ironheart is going to be about.
Right.
She got to take home she got to take home a souvenir or two from Wakanda, and now she's going to tinker and just be like, oh, okay.
The thing that I like about her is that she, like, her character is someone from the city area essentially. Like every genius essentially like talks like a genius in Marvel and DC, black, white, no matter what. But like you never get like a inner city genius, and like the way that she spoke and like the way that she carried herself, and like someone that I would know around where I am essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, I really like that. She's her own thing.
Yep. Well, what I also like about it is that Riri and Shuri, that then creates an interesting thing to play off of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shuri is, like Shuri comes from a different background. She's a princess. She's been surrounded by this high technology.
Right.
Riri Williams, she like cobbles stuff. She's a natural genius, but it has to be stuff like, I use some of the stuff from MIT. Don't tell my professors.
Right. When they're
it's like
describing her machine before they knew it was her who made it, it's like, oh wow, it's got like all this great stuff, and then stuff that you would find in a garage, or and it's like, that's it. That's perfect. That's exactly what Tony Stark would have done. Stuff he would have found around the house, plus stuff he would have stolen from his dad's company. So exactly.
Well,
but
stolen or quote unquote borrowed.
So you've got the juxtaposition of the privileged with the scrappy, and so it's perfect, because then she also brings Shuri back to kind of why she is what she is, why she does what she does, and kind of like shakes her out of that grief coma, and reminds her, this is why you're here, this is why you have that mind, this is why I have this mind, and this is what we're going to do with it.
Yes, no, exactly. Yeah, perfect.
It's so beautiful, and I feel like this movie is this amazing. I don't want to call it. My first thought was like it's a great equalizer, but that's not really true. What it is it shows us that people of every walk of life, you get geniuses from everywhere, you get good and bad from everywhere, you get bad behaviors from good purposes, and accidental good behaviors from bad purposes. It just this is real life, just with superheroes. And so it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, you can still be a genius, you can still be amazing, you can still make bad choices, you can still make good choices, you can this cast is so phenomenal. And I was joking with my husband afterwards that it's just, this cast, this is the world makeup. Mm-hmm. This cast is more realistic and more real than we've seen in a long time.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we've got Riri, who who's not, does not come from privilege.
Right.
Who managed to make it on her own by
her wits and her smarts.
Yeah, we've got Shuri, who was who was born into privilege, who was born into royalty. We've got Namor, who is royalty, but who has seen the ugly side of humanity. We've got a guy like Ross, who he wants to, even though he's in intelligence, he wants to do good. He owes Shuri his life, and he takes that seriously. And we also have DeFontaine, who is like, she's willing to do stuff. She's one of those
she's
of like
willing to do whatever it takes to get what she wants.
Yeah, but of course, I also kind of detect that for her, it's this sort of for the greater good thing.
Oh.
It's one of those. It's we're doing this for the greater good. For the greater good. It's
who's
it's
good?
Like
well, it's version of the greater good.
Yeah. It's it's one of those things of this is going to be ugly, but trust me, at the end of it, it's for the greater good. The greater good. So we've got this. We actually have, and we've got it from all sides. And I love that. One thing I think we do have to talk about.
Yeah.
We do have to talk about it. We got to talk about this. So, Ryan Coogler, in the lead up to the movie, said that there was not going to be an end credits scene. And he's right. There's nothing at the end of the credits. However, mid-credits, we do get something.
Dun dun dun.
We get first of all, the character of Nakia does make a comeback. I mean, I know we haven't mentioned her, and it's not,
She
it's
does
not
a fabulous job as usual.
Oh yeah, but we do get a scene. We get Shuri. We get Shuri going to visit her. At the end of the film, and Shuri gets introduced to Sant, which, if I mispronounce it, I apologize. And our little boy Toussaint is the son of T'Challa.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but his Wakandan name is T'Challa.
Prince T'Challa.
Yep. So it is an interesting ray of hope.
Yeah.
In these proceedings, because it is, it's basically saying that while T'Challa may be gone, the legacy that he started is still out there. Whether it's with Shuri inheriting the mantle of the Black Panther, or with the fact that he has an actual, honest-to-gosh son.
Yeah.
Like, that, I think, is one of the incredible things about this. It's one of those things of T'Challa may be gone, but the Black Panther lives.
I kind of felt like it moved the movie in like a full circle, where I had that same family emotional tug at the end that I felt at the beginning. And I like that. It was very emotional in a good way, in a happy but sad way. I really did love that.
Yep.
And I have to say that little man that they got to play the prince was very good, because boy, that little boy has got some presence.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And he's adorable.
He's adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do want to throw in a little bit that I wanted to bring up some of Namor's other I don't, they're not henchmen. What do you call them? They're the cohorts, coworkers.
Well,
I don't know. What's the right word? What's the word?
Well, okay.
Co-warriors.
Let's just say his people, his fellow warriors.
His people.
I know.
Yes.
Well, I know Namor is his cousin.
Oh my God, she is phenomenal.
Both in the comics, both in the comics and in in the film, because he even says cousin when talking to her. So
yes,
she's phenomenal. I love the scene though. I love the scene though at the end where they're talking.
Oh yes,
where she's just like, hey, I was looking for I was looking for some more war.
You
what's
first
going on?
see her.
Yep.
And she is just, her whole presence.
Oh,
she's just like, I'm kicking butt. I'm taking names.
Yep.
Oh.
And
her costume.
Oof.
Holy crap. I was just like, shall I bow down to you now? I can bow down to you now. We just call it now.
You mind if I double back to a Chadwick Boseman?
Oh yes, go for it.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, because of course, like he died of, we all know, right? Cancer.
Yeah.
Hate it all, right? But like it's like I don't know how to put it in the right way, but I'm going to try my best. So like when Black Panther came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least from like my point of view of like on my black side, right?
Yep.
This is something that's been waited for a long time, right? Because like you have Blade, sure, right? But like you look at this beginning movie, right? And how they showed Chadwick, right?
Yeah.
And he's not even talking. It's just images of him. And it's powerful. The man had presence. Like you never had a black superhero, at least a male black superhero, that commanded the screen when he came in. Like I remember, like I think it was like Endgame, right? Where he just walked
Uh-huh.
in, right? And everyone's like, oh, whoa, right? You never had that. And you still kind of don't. And like I feel like since he's gone, cinema, at least superhero cinema, owes it to like kind of give back to at least I'm gonna say us a
Yeah.
a decent, good, commanding black male superhero. Because like Black Panther's the only one. If we just go at how much we have right now, right? Yeah, Falcon, who's now Captain America, right? But I'm going to be honest, right? Kids don't really like Falcon or Captain America like that, at least of my color,
Not the
right?
same. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same. You have War Machine, but everyone just deduces him as Iron Man sidekick because he got it because of
Right.
Iron Man, right? And then you have Black Panther, and then he's just himself. He's now commanding the screen, and now he has
Yes.
his own movie. Everyone's going to go see the movie, and then he's gone,
Yeah.
right? And so now you're back at square one. So now we just had freaking Black Adam, right?
Completely different kind of character, though.
Hawkman is good, right? But like he's again number two to Dr. Fate. Not saying that's bad because that's how the Justice Society of America is. But like you don't. There's no Green Lantern movie. There's no there's no big black male superhero movie, and like I'm insanely glad that the sisters have it. We're insanely glad because it was never there before, and this movie is incredible. I love it, right? But here's the thing: that void still needs to be filled because, like it or not, there is a void there, and I feel kind of weird bringing it up. But like every time, like they like showed like the montages of the child, I'm
the
like,
emotion.
look, there he is. That is, I'm gonna say, our hero for a good amount of time until he dies.
Yes.
Right? Yep. You take 100. I'm gonna leave it here, and like we can move on. But this is the best way that I can put it. Right?
I think that they will have another Black Panther, and I don't know if we're going to get a fast forward where his son will grow up. I think part of it is getting. I mean, Chadwick Boseman. There's an actor, and I've seen all of his movies, and holy cow, that man had this ability to act. I mean, he is up there with Laurence Olivier as far as I'm concerned, and just amazing ability in everything he did, and a really good actor doing an amazing part suddenly becomes and that's what we need. We need that combination again where we have the good writing, the good part, the good and the good actor. So and I think I totally, and we talked about it earlier, the director did not want to replace Boseman, even though his brother said no, replace him, because too many of the fans would be like, you couldn't replace T'Challa just with a different actor. So we need another Black Panther. One of the other versions needs to be a different actor, different character name, and then it needs to be a good one.
So like, look, that's exactly what I was wanting to bring up. So I'm gonna give you a thing because this was a thing when I was a kid, right? Whenever I would go to Party City, right, I would always be Obi-Wan or a Power Ranger because there was so little black options. We had Mace Windu, but I wasn't bald, right? So like I just didn't want to be Mace Windu. But each way, so now let's take it right now for a second. You take 100 kids today, right? 100 black boys, right? And you give them a choice. You can either be Falcon, War Machine, Hawkman, or Black Panther. I promise you, if you ask any parent, 100 of them are going to say Black Panther.
Yes.
And that boy needs to be
because he's
filled.
not a sidekick.
That's why he is the man.
Yes.
He is the guy.
Yep.
And I'm just saying that kind of just needs to be filled some way or another. It doesn't need to be another Black Panther, but it needs to be filled. Or at least tried to be filled.
Yeah.
You can't fill those shoes again.
No, this was a good movie. I mean, this is a great movie. This was fabulous. But we now need to keep moving it forward. And, it just, what that's going to look like, I don't know. But there will be a time where there's going to be another Black Panther, and I can't help feel like, and I know this kid's only 7 years old, but this is definitely a setup for a future Black Panther.
Yep.
A future male Black Panther will be coming back into our midst. And I think that's necessary because since the 60s, even though I have this vague memory that at one point Shuri does become the Black Panther in at least one version of the comic books.
Yes, there was. Yeah, there was a storyline where Shuri was Black Panther.
But it was one storyline. Most of the time, it's a male figure, and I think it's important for so much of the whole socioeconomic mindset, the universe, et cetera, that you need that, and it's necessary, and so I do believe that that will happen again. I am very convinced because just like Wonder Woman proved that women can have superhero movies, Black Panther proved that black men can have superhero movies. It's like, okay, guys, we've proved it now. It doesn't always have to be a white man with blue eyes. They're cute, but we can move on. We can do other things. We can keep on moving. We can keep on growing. Comic books already covered this ground in the 60s. Let's keep on moving. Let's keep on growing. Let's represent. And I think it will happen. I have no doubt whatsoever because we have also now proved that there's a Mesoamerican superhero family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Superhero? Would that be right? Mutant. I'm not sure what the right term would be at this point. But and they're amazing, and everyone was like, "Whoa!"
Well,
So we're
also
proving time and time again with the MCU that guess what? We can break these barriers. We can break these nuances. They're not there anymore. We're beyond all these supposed glass ceilings. Screw these glass ceilings.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's do this right, and let's keep moving forward.
Yeah, and I mean, and hey, don't forget that we also had, we had we had an Asian superhero in Shang-Chi.
Yes.
We've had an Asian superhero in Shang-Chi. We have, we had, so it's like,
and across the pond, Black Adam.
Yes.
Black Adam. Yeah, we've had.
So we're getting there.
Yeah, no, and it's.
But we need more. You're so right, Zion. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and it's and yeah, and I also get what it's also one of the things. I mean, one of the great things about having Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, it's like, okay, everybody has. See, this is the thing, and this is the thing, and everybody has something. Everybody has something to look at and say, I see myself in that. And that's one of the important things that that and it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's and I mean, even though these are fictional characters,
we still need it.
Yeah, we still need it. We still should, need to be able to, there are different, yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is just, bleh.
I think we're all on this soapbox together, and we all agree.
Oh yeah.
So we're right. The rest of them are wrong.
Oh geez. Yeah.
So Marvel needs to keep going in this direction they're going. I mean, you think about so many of the things that they've done, and I know that sometimes they've been trepidatious, and there's been worries. Before they did Captain Marvel, even we wouldn't have had Ms. Marvel if Captain Marvel hadn't happened. We wouldn't have had Black Widow. All of these TV shows and movies that we've had over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Even further if we go all the way back. I mean, I'm very impressed with the constant pushing of the envelope, and I know we can thank Stan Lee and all the people that worked with him over the years, who are, I think, to this day, everyone's pushing the envelope. There's a lot of pushing the envelopes, and we're not even pushing the envelope. We're just reflecting reality.
Yeah.
So I think that that's fabulous. And this movie is fabulous.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. definitely, as the to quote the title, Wakanda Forever.
Amen.
Amen.
So, any last thoughts, guys?
Well, I gave my final thought.
Zion?
I can't wait to see if Sue fancies this Namor or not. Because it's a toss-up at this point, I feel.
Yeah.
Well, the guy does. I mean, he is pulling off the wet and bare-chested look. I mean, hey, it's
missing a little bit of muscle mass, but we're okay. We're okay.
Hey.
He looks perfectly fine.
He's got the swimmer bod.
Let's see
if
Sue likes it or not. Hopefully not, because I don't need that like throughout the entire movie.
Well, I'm sure there are plenty of fangirls right now that if Sue doesn't go for it, they'll be like, "I love you, Namor."
Hey, I had no problem. He was very enjoyable to watch, and both as an actor and visually. Yep. So it was a very enjoyable movie on that front too.
Yep. But, okay. Well, there you go. See, hey, hey, Namor. Sue doesn't want to give you the time of day. Vicky's right there. Vicky is right there. She's willing. She will not kick you out of bed. She will not kick you out of bed for eating shrimp. Okay.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we might want to just wish our viewers a happy Thanksgiving.
Yep, we're gonna be off next week because it's Thanksgiving. We probably wouldn't be able to record because our stomachs would be full of turkey and can't concentrate with the tryptophan. So
we'll still be asleep next week.
Yeah, but we will be back. We will be back after that. With more wonderful geeky stuff because there's just so much more out there.
Woohoo!
And we're getting into the holidays, so
Uh-oh.
And I know for a fact we got some really awesome holiday stuff coming up the pipe. So yeah. On that note, I just got to say, I'm Eduardo M. Freyre, and with me are Vicky Jakubowski and Zion Quiros, and yeah, we're just saying, hey. When the going gets tough, just grab your fellow warriors, yell "Yibombe," and go for it. Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever!
Thanks for listening to Mark Who 42's Universe with hosts Mark Baumgarten, Eduardo M. Freyre, Zion Quiros, and Vicky Jakubowski. This program was produced and directed by Mark Baumgarten. If you'd like to get in touch with us, please go to our Facebook page or email us at markwho42s.universe@gmail.com. You can listen to old shows at our website, markwho42.com, or even our YouTube page, markwho42.
Mark Who 42's Universe, copyright 2022.